Hey guys, welcome to another video. This video is going to be about which iPad you should buy in 2023. And I would take most of this with a grain of salt because this is also right before Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. So there may be some things that may change later on. But at least in early 2023, these are the recommendations I would give if you're looking to buy a new iPad. Alright, let's get into it. As for myself, as I had just sold my MacBook Air, the main thing that I found kind of lacking once I had my Mac Mini was that I no longer had like a portable computer for just everyday day-to-day needs. And I feel like because I do have the Mac Mini, which kind of serves as a workhorse for most demanding tasks, anything I do need for day-to-day browsing can be done on a tablet, and that's really why I look to buy a new iPad. And I guess the iPad lineup right now is probably the most confusing one that Apple has probably had in like its entire history. My number one iPad that I would just completely throw out is the iPad mini. It's overpriced, it's also really small, and I just don't see how a screen that small can provide you any value. If you really want a screen that big, just buy a bigger iPhone and call it a day. But I would definitely not recommend the iPad mini. From there, I think that's where you really have to decide which device suits the options that you need the best. I think if you just need an iPad that's just going to do the basics of just being able to browse the web and you don't have too many expectations from it, I think the 9th generation iPad, which does have a bit of the older design, is probably good for most people. Although at $329, it is the cheapest iPad, and at that, it's also the oldest looking one. So even if you start to upgrade the storage a bit, you're already looking at about, I think, around $400, which puts you right in the price range of the next iPad, which is the 10th generation iPad, which looks exactly like an iPad Air, but the 10th generation iPad does not have a good display because it's not laminated. So if that's something that you care about, I also would not recommend the 10th generation iPad. It also supports Type-C, but if you ever decide to buy an Apple Pencil, you'll have to use the 1st generation Apple Pencil and then literally use a cable to charge it. So again, I don't know why you would do that either. So I feel like the 10th generation iPad itself is like a wannabe iPad Air or iPad Pro, but at $449, again, I feel like you're missing out on a lot of what you could get if you spent the extra to go to an iPad Air. And then that's the next iPad we'll talk about, which is the iPad Air itself, which I believe starts at $549. Let me check. Yeah, iPad Air now. So yeah, now the iPad Air starts at $600, which for that price, I guess isn't terrible if you really need the compute power of having the M1 on a tablet. But at the same time, just having all of that power in just an iPad just seems a little stupid to me, honestly. In terms of, yeah, you could use it, but for what the device is itself, the iPad Air has a pretty crappy screen, in my opinion, at least compared to the iPad Pro. And at the same time, only comes with 64 gigs of onboard storage, which when you're already paying $600 for an iPad, 64 gigs of storage is just unacceptable. So yeah, at that point, I think the best iPad to buy right now is the iPad Pro. For $750, it's probably the best value for your money. You also get the M2 chip, you get a stunning display, and you get 128 gigs of storage on the base model. So it's really a no-brainer. Like, why would you not get the iPad Pro? Not to mention, there's also a pretty good case you can get for like $250. So you can just easily drop $1,000 and that's your laptop replacement. Yeah, so go ahead and buy an iPad Pro. Okay, I actually didn't mean any of that. I do think that the iPad Pro is still the best iPad to buy, but definitely not the latest one. What my recommendation would be to buy is the Apple certified refurbished iPad Pro, and probably one of the older models. I think the 2nd generation, which is the one that I got, actually goes for $549 right now. it makes the most sense, in my opinion, to buy that because it is still the Pro model, so a lot of the newer features on iPad OS, like Stage Manager, is something that you can go ahead and use for $50 less than having to pay for an iPad Air, which is $600. Not to mention, it also comes with 128 gigs of onboard storage. And for that, the screen that you get for having the Pro model with the 120 Hz refresh rate is honestly really well worth the money. So if you are looking to buy a new iPad, I would definitely not spend the money on a new one because none of the new ones, honestly, to me seem like they're a good value for the money that they are and for even the features that they provide. And then let's also talk about buying refurbished as well. Only buy certified refurbished if you're getting them from Apple. Main reason I say that is because Apple replaces the chassis and it also replaces other components inside of it which may go bad, such as the battery. So even though you're buying certified refurbished, you're almost basically buying more or less a brand new iPad. And then in terms of selecting a case, I would really stray away from any of the cases that Apple provides because they're just downright expensive and they're not a good value for the money. And the ones that they recommend for the iPad Pro are also extremely heavy and bulky and trying to be like wannabe laptops. What I would recommend is buying like the Logitech combo cases that you can buy off of Amazon. The prices for them fluctuate pretty drastically in between $100 to like $200, but you could pick up a used, like new or a very good condition case for about $100. And at that point, you've saved a lot more money compared to buying an iPad Pro, and you spent about the same amount of money as compared to buying like an iPad Air brand new. So yeah, that would be my recommendation if you're in the market for trying to buy a new iPad. I think the iPad is probably the only product in Apple's lineup where it makes the most sense to buy a used one. So yeah, that's been another video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in this next one. See ya!